Good morning, everyone. It is Kate Denning here, going to you live from the Spiritual Events Directory page, and I'm Kate Denning from the Spiritual Realm. And today I'm going to have with me the wonderful Sarah Yip, and I'm just waiting for her to tune in. And I've got a new platform going here. So I'm using StreamYard, which is a bit like Zoom. And what you need to do is when you comment, you'll actually have to put your name in. Unless you go through all their stuff, I'm not too sure how easy or hard it is to except for them to put your name in. But if you're sending me a message and you want a reading, if you can put your name. Now, Sarah will be on shortly. I'm just waiting for her to come on here. I might actually have to send her the link again. So bear with me while I'm learning to do this, because I'm not too sure if they actually give me a different number each time I set up this page. So we'll just go up the top, and I better turn my phone off. Okay, so just bear with me while we do this. Paste. So I'm just sending Sarah the link again. Now I can probably do this with you guys too. So if somebody wanted to come on, just let me know. And I've actually got names that are coming through. Okay, so I'm putting Sarah up. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? Okay, so I'd love to introduce to you the lovely Sarah Yip. So probably a lot of you already know Sarah. So Sarah is the numerology queen. She does palmistry and also has definitely got a psychic abilities as well. And I think you use the cards as well, don't you?
Yeah, and a bit of clairvoyance and past life regression and lots of other amazing fun things that I've picked up over the years from my teachers and clients and being around. So it's all quite mixed now. Mm-hmm.
So Sarah is also 97.3's go-to psychic. So I was listening to your interview you had on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I only listened to it last night. I remember it going up on the day, but that was the same day that I had my puppy put down. Yeah. She was 16 years old. So I didn't watch much that day. I was supposed to do a show that night and ended up cancelling it. But anyway, so Sarah, let everyone know a little bit about what you do and maybe how you started in this industry as well.
Sure. Well, firstly, just extreme gratitude to Kate. What an amazing privilege to be able to work with you today and to have known you for so incredibly long, several years now. So my background is basically the opposite of this field. Very religious, skeptical, conservative background, studying science and meant to go into medicine. So definitely wasn't expecting this. The only psychic ability I showed is I won a snail race when I was 6 by picking the only snail that was moving in the bucket. I won a photo frog. That's like the only time I can remember having any intuitive insights. Everything else was just slog, sweat and tears and calculations. So perhaps it was a wonderful platform to come into the industry, because by the time I entered it full-time about 9 years ago, and it's interesting because we live in 9-year cycles, and I basically quit my job 9 years ago. I was really well-versed in the logical, rational world and the world of having to explain yourself and defend your opinions and be quite clear. So I guess what it reminds me of is when I was learning waitressing, I remember someone said the very fancy restaurants prefer if you have no experience. so that when you come in, they can actually train you more quickly and you don't have a lot of resistance to all of the ways they do things. And perhaps I was a nice clean slate for the universe. But at the same time, it's been a long journey to being confident. It took me about 2,000 readings before I called myself a psychic. And I really just did a lot of palm readings in the beginning because that's so scientific and it can be photographed and proved. But yeah, it's been a very slow, sustainable perhaps journey. And now, this is how I support my family. It's how I met my husband on TV, reading his palms. And now he does readings as well because it looked like so much fun. We get to spend more time together and kick each other under the table, basically. And I have no doubt the kids will get involved because they've already started tuning into the readings. So yesterday I did a reading for someone where we talked about riding broomsticks, Quidditch, Spider-Man, and saying gotcha when people were naughty. And straight after the reading, my little guy came in from across the house, and I'm in a soundproof office. And he came in on his little broomstick with a Spider-Man shirt. And then he said, gotcha. And that kind of thing's been happening. And it's so specific, it just couldn't be accidental. So clearly it's turning into a family business. And I'm kind of moving in the direction of training families actually and understanding each other, because it's all very well and good to know your life purpose. But if other people aren't on board with that, good luck. Because it does take a team to do anything that's lasting. So yeah, moving into more family, children, parent type work.
I noticed that you were doing a class on why your children pick you, something like that.
Yeah, why your child chose you. So I run a couple of those. I ran one of those classes and I advertised another a few days ago. It sold out immediately. And I'll be creating some more work along those lines. And I'm very grateful to have children. It's been a long journey there too. And they're really very delightful people, and they come pre-baked, and most of them know their life purposes by the time they're teens. And so working with the parents to make sure that they don't get in their kids' way and get run over is quite gratifying. And I feel like it very much heals my past. And, a lot of people go into this industry because they're trying to understand themselves, and the side effect is they get to meet lots of cool people and potentially help others along the way.
It is great, isn't it? It's like one of the only industries I know where you get gratitude from other people with what it is that you've done for them. You can help so many people out there, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do, and you make so many beautiful friends along the way. I love it. So I met Sarah the same day that she met her husband at a psychic fair. I was there just wandering around and checking things out because this was during my recovery time. And Sarah had already started. You were also in the tsunami, weren't you?
Yeah, that was some years afterwards, but that was one of the reasons I went into the work, is realizing that I must have a purpose greater than being a bureaucrat. But remember when I met you, remember we got you up on stage and I read your palm, and you had that long Jupiter finger, that long index finger like me, which is a hyper feminine, high energy. Remember we talked about that you didn't like housework, or you didn't do housework anymore?
I've been doing some this week, like I've had time.
Return to your roots. But that was quite funny that you got up on stage and I met Chris on that stage as well. Obviously it was a very momentous day, and I can still remember the date too, 15th of September 2012, because I was in a personal 6-year and a personal 6-month. And that's like a major time you often meet people who are going to change your life and have really great relationships with. So it's right on time.
I just wrote that date down. So I met a few other people that day too, and even some now that are just starting to come back into my life again that I met that day. So, with the times now, we'll talk about that too shortly, being in 2020 and what's happening. But I've always been like so excited with 2020 coming, because I knew it was going to really ramp things up and we were going to have massive changes, and I'm really excited about it. And I see this time as like staying at home and being more creative, and I'm going to be writing another book or two and doing some art. So I'm actually not worried at all, and I feel like the dreams that I've been having are just so vivid now, and with past loved ones coming through and giving me messages, like that veil is so thin. And people that haven't been in this industry before, that have, you know, there's just so many people that are coming through now and awakening and becoming spiritual, and they're finding it so easy, where I've spent years and years working really hard at it and it just comes to a lot of people now. It's like bang, and it's there.
Well, that's what happens when you bore through the mountain and people take the tollway that you built, you know. And I guess you don't always get the easy road, but you get the calm and you get the goodwill, you get the acknowledgement, which is what will be coming your way in the next few years. Because the first one through gets the cobwebs in the face, but they also get the best view and the untouched view and the wild view. And that's the price you pay when you're a leader. And in numerology, every word has a vibration. And I've just been working with a lot of women recently, particularly on their seeing themselves as a leader. And leader has the same vibration as crazy. And I've been called crazy since I was born. And so I sort of put subtitles to my memories now, that they were letting me know that I'm pretty fantastic. And I use anagrams a lot to break spells. So when people have had horrible things said to them, we use anagrams or acrostics to break the spell. And leaders reversed or changed around as dealers. So if you're someone who's dealt with a lot of crises, essentially you are de facto a leader. It's just all about how you look at it. And just the same way you can be a reactor or a creator, it's the same letters but a different outcome. So yeah, a lot of people are being very reactive right now. A lot of people are being very creative. And the difference will be plain to see when the world restarts in a couple of months. Because when I was in fundraising, I learned a lot about money, and I learned a lot about energy, and I learned a lot about people at their best and worst, because it was an industry where you call people up and ask for their credit cards. So you really get the thin edge of the wedge. And the one thing I learned is that in a recession and in a hard time, the best thing you can do is keep asking and keep doing business and just get a bit smarter and, you know, get a bit clearer. And then when the mists clear, you'll be in a fantastic place. And the worst thing you can do is say, I shouldn't be asking for money. I'm just going to close up shop. I'm just going to hide out in the winter. And then when everything starts again, you are behind by like years, if not months. So yeah, my business is still going, and I know a lot of people are still going. And it's about having a warm inner climate, even if it's snowing outside. Just knowing that this is actually the time people most need your services if you're someone who is a calm person.
Now I'm just going to go through the list here and see who we've got. Now, if anyone would like to have a reading with Sarah's doing some numerology today, so you need to
cards. We'll see what happens.
Your full birth date. So I want to say hello to Cindy. So I think Cindy is one of your friends. She's saying hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Lincoln, Pandora, beautiful Pandora. She's always here. See, Pandora, did you hear? You are a leader. Donna and Holly is here. Rachel's from the UK. She's with us most weeks too. The beautiful Karen, who's usually here helping me out, but she's at home in isolation as well too. So hi, Karen, and Bailey and Janine and Deborah and Moira. Moira's also from the UK. I think she's from Scotland. And Natasha and Marjorie. Hi, Helen. Oh, God, we've got a whole list. So
I'm not surprised for some reason.
Just keep going. And This is why I usually have Karen here with me, because I can't keep up with all of these.
All right, it's going to be a bit of a lot, folks.
So, I've got to write in 19, the beginning too, don't I? So I'm trying to. Moira is from Glasgow, Scotland. Yes, I knew she was from Scotland. Johnny's saying I'm a 29 too. So
Well, the 11th
sure if Johnny knows who you are, but being the numerology queen, Sarah has also done a lot of stuff on the 1111 too, and you can see a whole lot of stuff up on her website, because you've got recordings from over the years of all these things that you've done, and famous people that you've met and done their numerology for, or their palms as well. So I'll go. We've got the first one that I've got here for you to do a reading for. I don't have her date of birth though.
That's okay. We don't always need it. I can just go off my yeah, that's fine.
She's probably put it in down here, but it's Pandora.
Okay, great. What, does she have a question, or it's just an open thing? Just open?
Well, yeah, open for Pandora. Oh, here we go. She is the 5th of the 12th, 1957.
Okay, just a sec. Okay, I think she's a 3. 6, 8, 9, 18. Okay, she's a 30. Let's just do her chart really quick. 1, 9, 5, 7, 3. Okay, all right. So Pandora's chart this is where I have to do my my maths properly. So she's a 30/3, so she's healing her solar plexus chakra, which is her courage, and it's a lot to do with her childhood and giving herself a happy ending, no matter what the start of the story's been. And 3s are actually masterful storytellers, and they have the gift of words, and they have to be quite mindful to use them constructively. Otherwise, they can also get into dilemmas. 3 is the number of triangles, so 3s always have a lot of choices to make, and their life path is about making a choice and following through and making the most of it, rather than trying to be perfect, because that will cause them to go a little bit nuts up here, which is a tragedy, because they're very positive people. Pandora's got an unusual chart because she's got a lot of numbers in there, so there's a huge self-sufficiency. She's got numbers for mysticism, being able to present, being very determined, actually quite fiery and passionate. So, yeah, she would actually be very good doing something like this, to be honest. Anything where she has to explain things, especially things that are a little challenging to the status quo. So if I pull a card for Pandora, you know what it's got the Lovers, which is the 3rd eye. And, looking at her chart, so December 8, so she's in an 11, 17. She's in an 11-2 year, which is actually a really powerful time for partnership. So meeting people on your wavelengths, meeting people you consider equals, meeting your team. So yeah, that's just a really little bit for Pandora. Thanks for supporting our show as well.
Can I just ask for Pandora too, what this would mean for her health? Because she's pretty much been isolated since 2004.
Well, health questions a little bit depends on the type of health question we're asking, but with 3s, and yeah, everyone's different. It's always good to ask. With 3s, the energy is a lot about the digestion, and often they need a little bit of support with their food, and there's often a love of cooking and yummy things, and so even things like sharing recipes or having online dinner parties might help to break some of the isolation. 3s are very much...
She's actually on a liquid diet. She can't. So it's funny that you would bring. Well, it's not funny. It's amazing how it just works out, isn't it? Because she can't eat. I think there's broken jaw. Yeah, that's amazing.
And, well, some people are are here to teach us about compassion, and obviously she's one of those people with all those spiritual numbers. And you know, the thing about the threes is, even though a lot of them have quite difficult lives, like Audrey Hepburn's a good example. She had a eating disorder, she struggled to have a child, and yet at the same time they always have those beautiful smiles, and they're still always able to find a kind word for someone. And a lot of threes are very stoical. And like Robin Bailey's another example on the radio. She's one of my patrons. She's really suffered a lot, and she's just always able to find something beautiful in life. So,
oh, I love her. She is such a beautiful person, isn't she?
Yeah, and it's funny, she's got 3 sons. She's on 97.3, and Bob, her co-host, is a 3. And Terry, her other co-host, is an 8, and 8 plus 3 is 11, so it's a superpower combination. And it's funny because 8's actually the doubling of the 3 energy. But I guess what I'd say is, you know, perhaps Pandora can still meet friends, even if it is online, and perhaps she could write about her experiences or talk about it, because when 3s communicate, there's often an enormous amount of emotion. There's an enormous amount of healing that will come through whatever they say, even if it's only a little at a time. They've just got the gift of being able to keep people's attention. So, yeah, it's not always an easy life being a sensitive person, but at the same time, you can make so much difference if you allow yourself to still have a go and still put yourself out there. It is worth it, and the feedback alone, as you were talking about, Kate, you know, sometimes you're having such a terrible day and someone will just send an email or a Facebook message and it just changes your whole life, right? You really open to miracles once you start putting your work out there.
And 3's also very creative too, and she's done some pieces of art for me and Karen as a thank you as well. And very, very, very creative. But we better move on to another one.
Yeah, well, 3 is called The Artist, just to let you know. 3 is The Artist. My sister's an art teacher and a 3 as well. So, okay, good to know.
So there you go, Pandora. And next we've got Patricia. And Patricia is the 27th of the 10th, 1971.
That's interesting. That's my mum's birthday. 10, 9, 10, 11, 28, 7. Okay, just let me do her chart. 1 sec. 2, 7, 1, 1, 9, 7, 1, 1. Okay, so when we do Patricia's chart, we see there's nothing in the middle. And her life path, the 28-10-1, that's the same as my husband's. So the 1 is a unique black sheep, often the first in the family to move away or intermarry or learn another language. There's always something very distinctive and unique about them, especially as a female 1. There's going to be a lot of challenges to people telling her what to do. There's going to be a tendency to be self-employed or having a lot of freedom in what she gets to do. Because there's nothing in the middle, I've got that line too. There's not an ability to compromise. So generally, often, you know, the years between until about 28 to 30 can be a lot of experimentation and trying other people's ideas on, and really success tends to come after that time. So with her life path being a 28, the turning point age in her adult life is 28, which is 1999 to 2000, which was a massive opening for the whole of humanity. So yeah, this is a person who will be very distinctive, very memorable, with the double 7s, very witty, very funny, can take people down with an eyebrow, basically. They can have a little bit of a dry sense of humor. So yeah, I get that she's quite a character, is the best way to put it. If I pull a card for her energy at the moment, so it's a 7 of Wands, which is picking your battles wisely. If I look at her personal year, so 9, 1, 4, she's in a 4 personal year, which correlates with the world. So she's in a year of forgiveness and transforming suffering into understanding and teaching. And so her big month will be May, June, which will coincide with the planet. So she's probably a pioneer in her community. That's what the 1 is about. And she's likely to be attracting some flack perhaps now for her views. She's got my little guy trying to get him. Charlie, Mummy's on a call. So just give him a sec. What happened
So,
to you for being patient,
let
Charlie?
us know where you're all from. Thank you
Charlie's
very
on the
much for
call.
joining us today. We will
Okay,
still
all
be
right.
here for another
Charlie,
half an hour. So it's been great, like great having Sarah here. So which one? This chart? No, this is the younger one, isn't it?
this is
This
Charlie.
is
Charlie,
Forrest.
say hi.
Oh, Charlie. Hello, Charlie.
Hi, Auntie. No. He doesn't let me tell what to do. He's a funny little reverse psychology baby. We call him Baby Boss. Are you Baby Boss? Oh, no, he's suddenly shy. Okay. So, yeah, feel free to just keep going. I may have to get his dad in a sec. Hey, Charlie. Oh, the joys of home confinement. That's Mummy's little goddess statue. Can we leave that? He always seems to find the one thing that's breakable in my room.
I've got a prayer here that I want to say for everyone. So I'm just going to light my sage. With, you know, what's going on at the moment, sage is a wonderful way of actually cleansing your house, not just of negativity, but it's also cleaning your air at the same time. So I've got my little bit of sage here, and I'll just say the prayer that I've had written for me. I cleanse this room of all negativity. I fill it with positivity. With love, with light, I cleanse thee. I call upon our angels and our guides to cleanse this home. I ask that you banish all negative and bad energies wherever I roam. I ask that you fill this space with cleansing light and love. I ask that you send purity of thought and blessings from above. I cleanse this room of all negativity. I fill it with positivity, with love, with light. I cleanse thee. I call upon the Divine Spirit to be with us and help us as we cleanse this space. I cleanse this space of all negativity, or only positivity may reside within this place. I fill this space with joy and happiness. I fill this space with peace and love. I fill this space with light and goodness sent from the heavens above. I cleanse this space of all negativity. I fill it with positivity, with love, with light. For the power of my highest good, I cleanse thee. I drive away fear and bad energies. Only happiness and good may be allowed in. I drive away negativity and ill feelings, and only positivity and love may reside within. I fill this room with happiness and love in my heart. I fill this room with the highest order of love and light from above. I leave this room fully protected and cleansed. I leave this room feeling joyous and bright. I cleanse this room of all negativity. I fill it with positivity, with love, with light. For the power of my highest good, I cleanse thee. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Oh, now you've done Patricia. I was listening to your beautiful poem last night, and I did share it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Can you have that with you?
Oh, which one? The coronavirus one?
Yeah. Do you have that one with you?
I can bring it up. Just give me a sec.
Yeah.
No, I'm just giving Charlie a feed. It's a bit of a multitasking kind of day. They don't have any mercy on you just because you're working, right?
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I'm loving your Nana. Like it's just awesome. You've still got that same connection with the kids, but you know, you don't have that same responsibility, which is absolutely wonderful.
Fast forward 50 years. Well, you know, I do actually really enjoy having kids because they ask the best questions and they're just incredibly hilarious and so clear. So let me just go onto my blog and find the post.
I had 4. I was even thinking about number 5.
You were thinking about number 5?
I was going to have 5 children. Yeah.
Oh. You probably have a waiting list because I work with a lot of people with, you know, the children's lines and the children's spirit coming through. And, you know, some of the kids, they have to wait a couple of lifetimes before they can be your kid. And, you know, it's there's always a few flying around. It's a little bit like a house auction. there's always a few people who've bookmarked certain souls as parents to watch.
You know, whenever I do the pendulum to see how many children I'm having, it always shows 5. And it does it like it'll show boy, boy, girl, boy, and then it'll show a girl. So I never had that 5th one, but it doesn't matter how many times I do it, it still shows that I've got that girl.
You know, it could be a spirit that's come to help heal your inner child. It could come, she could be your muse for your writing. I work with a lot of people when they're launching a business, especially a spiritual business, and it could be the spirit of the business that you're running, because the gypsy go around does have a girl spirit around it.
I'd actually never thought of that.
Well, what they do is they basically run a business through you, so they don't have to go through all the rigmarole of being a human, but they still get lots of results. So it's the ultimate delegation, really. It's like what is it? It's like when you work for a virtual boss, you know, say you're like a virtual assistant.
I was I'm putting together another thing, and I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I'm going to be her buddy, her accountability buddy when it comes to writing. So we'll be talking to each other each afternoon. And I was talking about what I'd be doing next, and I wanted to sort of update my book that I've already published, The A to Z of tea leaf reading. But I've also got one that I didn't realise I had any intentions of doing, but it's being channeled through a friend that passed away last year, and I've already spoken to her husband about it.
I know him.
So the lovely Eleanor. And anyway, I walked out of the room because I was thinking about actually starting on something a little bit smaller, a project smaller. And I walked out of the room and I heard this crash, and I came back in and I'm looking for it. Anyway, it was all Eleanor's stuff that had fallen on the floor. It's like, no, this is what you're meant to be doing right now. I just love it how they work.
Spirits don't have a filter, that's for sure. What's your date of birth again?
Mine, the 4th of the 11th, 1964.
Let me just have a quick look at your numbers. Okay. 41111964. Yeah, you've got unusual numbers because you don't have that that cushion in the middle of your chart. So hang on. Where is it? I don't know. There it is. You don't have that cushion in the middle of your chart, which is that, you know, your heart is very much on your sleeves. You know, you're like sleeves with a heart, basically. So most people with that, they end up doing distance healings. My friend Dennis, the crystal healer, she has that. Alexis Cartwright from Transference Healing has that. So yeah, they often actually do their best work from a distance because actually they're so sensitive to energies, and it just allows them to not get distracted. Which, you know, writing is a type of distance healing, and you're doing video calls, that all counts. You've got the double fours, which is that big heart, but it's also a strong constitution and an ability to keep going. It's actually not that common to have fours. It's a high level of personal discipline and fairness and ethics. So quite special in the industry you're in.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. And you're a 26-8, so that's the boss. The boss life path here to heal your relationship with God or Goddess, and to actually experience being in charge of things and not perhaps in other lives, you know, always subjugated. So yeah, what happened around 26? Did you remember it all? So that was around 1990, 1991.
I had Olivia then, and that was a pretty tough time with her father. You know, it's one of those people, you know, you hear about it and everything's all good in the beginning, and the very day I came home from hospital with her, you know, I was expected to be doing housework, and he'd walk along and rub his finger on the furniture, and he'd lie every day. It was just a game to him. Very like a manipulator. So those years were pretty tough.
Yeah, well, the number 8 is about experiencing balance and justice, and often their lives go from extreme to extreme. And at the same time, they are the ultimate comeback kids. So whenever I see 8s in trouble, so many of the ones I know have recovered from life-threatening illnesses. It's not even funny. They just draw on this great, incredible inner strength that they're here to do something. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But yeah, so I have that joke I put on in all my courses that if you have an 8 behind you, you can't fail. But if you have an 8 in front of you, you can't win. So be friends with your 8. Be nice to your 8.
Oh, and then I'm a Scorpio on top of that. Gee, I'm going to have a bad reputation, aren't I?
Well, you're just someone people need to, treat properly. Treat like the queen of the tea leaves. You can be queen of the tea leaves. I'll be queen of the numbers.
I was thinking about the tea lady.
Lady of the tea. I like it. It's like Lady of the Lake of tea.
Thank you. All right. We'll do your poem. How about we do one more reading and we'll go back to your beautiful poem.
Sure. And actually, you did actually just bring up an issue I wanted to associate with the coronavirus. So yeah, happy to do a reading and then we'll talk about that again. No worries. So what was the details?
So let's go to Johnny now. He's just given me that he's a 2911. I don't know that he's actually given me his date of birth.
Okay.
Let's
just done it.
Quick look.
That's all right. I can just pull some cards. Just let me know.
And he says you're an absolute angel. That's from Johnny.
Thank you.
Johnny Retro.
Say that one more time.
Johnny Retro is his name. 2911, and he'd like to know about his career path, but he hasn't given me
No, that's okay. I'll just pull some cards. All right. Well, I got the Magician card, which is that it's now or never. It's now or never. Time to jump ship. Time to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Time to find a hat to pull a rabbit out of, basically. It's now or never. So the energy is ripe and juicy. What else am I getting here? So I'm getting the Devil card. So it sounds like he might be in a line of work where he would be best as a devil's advocate. Someone who helps people to calculate risk or make decisions or deal with their darkest fears, like a coach, or even this kind of work, or something where he helps people to deal with the devil in the details and to clear those blocks. That line of work might be quite suitable to him. And it says that he'll be working in a team, the 3 of Pentacles, a team. He might even be working more with women or that divine feminine energy to help people to, like more eco, more sustainable type justice for the planet. There's some sort of team he's going into, but he needs to get started. And it may be something he's quite frightened of doing, but at the same time, it will free him and it will free a lot of people. And, that's something I can really relate to, because as an 11, it's 11 out of 10. Everything you do is 11 out of 10. You leave nothing in the bag. 11s are very prone to exhaustion. And that's actually why they also can flip to the level of the 2. And the 2 is the sort of quiet peacemaker. And, I think a lot of people right now are recharging at a time like this. So, that's a little bit of a reading for Johnny. Thanks for being a supporter.
It would be hard to live like the master number all the time, wouldn't it?
It can't be done. It actually can't be done. It shouldn't be done, in my opinion. It's the 80-20 rule. 20% of the time, it's good to be an 11. 11's about being a catalyst, explosive personal growth, smashing the glass ceiling or whatever box you've chosen to smash. But you need to clean up and you need to look after the people. And it's not wise to try to aspire to numbers. I call it number envy. There's a lot of people who read about master numbers and they want to change their name or whatever, so they have it. But the people who have those numbers will tell you it's a double-edged sword. It's double potential, but it's also double drama. And it's very much like being a superhero. Yeah, you get more glory, but you need a cast of thousands, and that can be quite expensive. So there's a little bit of superstition around numerology, essentially that some numbers are better than others, but that's almost like mathematical racism. all numbers are incredibly special, and they all represent chakras, and they're all important, and we all need to work together. So it's almost like just trust the path you chose is actually the one that will make you the happiest. And in fact, we all go through master number energy at some point through our personal years or through the types of people we associate with. So don't worry, you'll always get a taste of it, but maybe you just don't need the whole bucket 24/7.
And the same like with palmistry, when you're looking at the hands and the prints, and you can see what people's weaknesses and their strengths are, so they know what they need to work more with too. It gives them a bit more of an understanding about themselves as well. Would you say that?
Yeah, so I use palmistry and numerology together because the numerology shows the map that was decided before birth, and then the palm shows what the person's actually done. And you can actually identify people's numbers from their hands quite often. There's a fingerprint that looks like a yin-yang, which I've got an article about, and a lot of people who have that symbol on their fingerprints have strong master number energy, or they see 1111, or they're star seeds, and also people with master numbers. And the only reason I talk about them a lot is because I still sort of specialize in them. They have a lot of double, triple lines and unusual markings, so they do kind of look a bit alien. So,
I've not seen before, and she's actually on here now, Judy. Yeah. Where you've got the loop of seriousness, she has got a whirl there. Have you ever seen that before?
Is it under the finger directly or between the two fingers?
Between the two fingers. So it's where you would have the loop of seriousness, but it's a whirl.
And we don't know her date of birth. And, okay. Well, you know, I guess the best thing to do is that palmistry does cover the chakras. So the area you're talking about is above the heart chakra. And so to have a whirl for me is normally a gift. So I would suggest that maybe she has the gift of being able to see into people's hearts, almost like an X-ray vision of their intentions. It's always a bit of a delicate thing because I haven't seen the rest of the hand, but you know, for me, it's like a gift. Whenever you see that, for me, it's a gift. I know not everyone thinks like that. Obviously, palmists disagree on practically everything. I used to get into fights at every single one of those guild meetings. But yeah, for me, it's sorry, just a sec. Excuse me. It would be a gift.
The Queensland Palmistry Guild, and they would have the meetings once a month.
Yeah, that was always very entertaining.
We'd meet up at the what was the Rendezvous Tea Room, which is now the Destiny Tea Room, which I now own. We'd have our meetings there. We don't do it anymore. But yes, it was very interesting, very quirky. Everybody was so different.
Well, the type of person who learns palm reading is usually a past life witch or wizard. So you've got centuries of stories to be told. I'll just pull a card for that lady you talked about. The card I got was the Seven of Pentacles. So I guess for me, that's someone who has a gift for growing people and growing ideas. And like I said, being able to see through to the heart of the matter. But the challenge, I suppose, of having a whirl in the heart chakra is that she may keep a lot of things inside, and perhaps, you know, sometimes she doesn't have someone she confides in, and that's actually important, or you can end up with a lot of anxiety and breathing issues, which probably brings us to coronavirus stuff.
Oh, yeah. So she loves children. She loves working with children, and probably I'll say saving children. You know, it's very important to her.
You know, she sees to the heart of humanity, and that is that if you don't look after the children, there will be no future. So, very special person. I'm sure she's got special numbers. With the coronavirus, I wanted to talk about the numerology a bit first. So 2020 is a number 4 year, and we're all being asked to actually take a bit of a break, because the heart in the chakra system is where you actually take a break from the external world and you prepare yourself to enter the doorway to spiritual consciousness, which is the throat chakra, third eye, and crown. So essentially, it's like a gap year in your spiritual education. And some people use a gap year wisely, you know what I mean? They set themselves up for their future studies, and some people party hard. And so it is.
Oh, no, we're frozen.
Oops. Are you still there? Hang on, let me just check. Is it my internet? I'll just have a quick look. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, let me just see. Maybe it's
Through.
There's a lot of people using the internet around here at the moment. Just give me 1 sec. I'll try to improve the settings.
There's so many people that are getting online now. Like Zoom has just been crashing. That's why I didn't use that platform.
Yeah, probably good that you did that. Yeah, well, it's interesting because the networks I use to do psychic readings have been actually quite bombarded. So you're going to laugh, but because I do all my preparation before people come in, I do all the charts and everything, I've actually had to start preparing them earlier because it's like calling Cosmic Telstra, and it takes me longer to download the information these days. I think there's a bit of a backup at the Akashic Library. So yeah, I've actually had to start doing them the day before, which is not like me at all. They're all changing. But anyway, so yeah, I did a forecast at the beginning of the year where I talked about being careful of catching the panic bug, having to look after your immune system, and how the new children are rising up and they're going to be causing parents to drop out of the rat race because it's also the year of the rat. So there's a lot of themes in that I guess it's not that surprising if you've been following the energy that it's all come to this. But I guess the main thing I want to suggest is this is bringing up a lot of people's experiences of abusive relationships. Sorry, I don't know if you can still hear me. You can.
Yeah, yep, I can hear you fine.
So, as soon as there was this crackdown on freedom, I experienced a lot of flashbacks in my own life to times that somebody basically took over my will, which was, telling you that it's dangerous to go outside, they're the only person you can trust. And then, little by little taking away your confidence that, initially you can do this, but now actually you can't do this. And just that constant trying to guess what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do, walking on eggshells. I think for a lot of people, this is an opportunity to clear the fear of being in an abusive relationship ever again. And while it's true, of course, we need to follow the regulations, there are ways that we can follow them while still maintaining dominion over our bodies. And the biggest one is to look after our physical health right now, to be exercising, to be singing, dancing, connecting with people, so that essentially as soon as the energies lift, we'll be ready to go with all of our new inventions, new businesses, new enterprises, rather than almost like, when people come out of a bad marriage and they just spend the next 10 years kind of in the wilderness. So this is actually a chance to purge any fears we have about being codependent, that kind of thing. We're all grown-ups now and we don't need someone to hold our hand. And as much as there's limitations right now, it doesn't have to break us. It's actually an opportunity to see how much power we have over our attitudes, because it does feel a little bit like prison. And to some people who've had past lives where they were in prison, they'll be feeling a lot of maybe even physical pain right now. But you've got prisoners like Nelson Mandela, who's an 8 actually, and he spent many years in jail, and at the same time he got a law degree, and he eventually came out and became Prime Minister. So it doesn't always have to end in darkness. We get to choose what happens at the end of this tunnel.
And good always prevails. I just see with what's going to come out at the end of this is just amazing things like new inventions. Like it's a pioneering days. It's just going to be incredible. People have got to think about how they're going to get through this, and it's going to make people more creative, and you'll see more people that are working online and helping people too, because it's about helping your community too.
That's right. The best way to look at it is we're going up in vibration, and when you go up a mountain, there's less oxygen and you need to be more efficient. And if we really truly believe in a fair society, some of us need to make do with less. And it's a harsh reality, but coming from Asia and having lived in a developing country and having lived without hot water and things like that, and where you've got to pay 10 cents for every sheet of toilet paper, this is a reality for lots of people.
Wow.
In Asia, you have to buy toilet paper when you go to the toilet. There is no toilet paper provided. This is a given in Asia. a lot of Asian places. So all I'm suggesting is
how lucky we are here.
Well, yes and no. You know, yes and no. And I having lived in different cultures, there's goods and bads in everything, isn't there? There's goods and bads in everything. There's not a judgment here. But all I'm suggesting is this is a time to get more efficient, and that means there'll be more for others to come and more for others after us. And it is the end of capitalism. And when you look at capitalism, it's head over heart. It's where, you know, the head city tells all the regional areas what to do. And this is the end of capitalism, which makes sense because in numbers, we're leaving behind all the ones, you know, from the 1990s, etc., all the ones, which is about each person for themselves and being the best, to the 2020s, which even if you look at it, it looks like a snails, you know, 2-0. It's like the snails, and the snails are going to win. This is the time of the turtles, and they are the ones who are going to make it through this changeover, because basically the rabbits' time is coming to an end, and we just don't need those quick fixes anymore. That was a valid way to live until now, but now you're going to find the slow people, the people we actually thought were stupid, are going to come up with the most advanced solutions. Maybe, you know, the people we had completely dismissed. I've been working with clients who've always thought they were dumb, and they literally walk around with like a dunce's cap on their head energetically, and now it's turning into a magician's cap, because those are the people who are the best ones to call on in a crisis, because they never fit in, and so they are supremely adaptable. It's kind of like being a left-hander in a right-hander's world. So a lot of people are going to get their dues now, and it's potentially a very balancing time for all of us, especially those of us who felt like we were kept in the darkness because our light wasn't welcomed.
Well, it's really good times for us now.
So if you want me to, I'm happy to pull a few cards or whatever, really. I don't mind.
Yep. So let's go to Donna then, and she is the 19th of the 8th, 1975.
Okay, just a sec. I've got a little baby in my arms, so I'm a bit slower than normal. That's kind of how it works. Okay, 10, 18, 19, 28, 35, 40. I think she might be one of those rare life paths. 10, 18, 19, 28, 35, 40. So 4, 8, 1, 22. Okay, what year is she in? So 27, 9. So she's in a 3 personal year. Okay, all right. Just a sec.
For you.
Up there. So Donna's got a very unusual life path. It adds up to 40. So it doesn't peak until she's 40, which is one of the later blooming paths. In some systems, she would be a Master 22. Either way, this is her year. This is the year for the 22s and 4s to rise up. 4s are pretty much the most patient people you'll ever meet. They're coming here to heal a broken heart, which has often happened to them before the age of 4 as a child, or even past life or family lineage. She is someone who has very special ideas that come straight from spirit. She needs a lot of contact with nature. She needs a very healthy diet. She's very, very determined to make her mark on society. She's got a 19 birthday, which is about overthrowing tyranny. It's interesting because COVID-19 has that karmic 19 in it. So I think you wanted to talk about that. Did you mention that to me before, the 19 in COVID?
No, I didn't. But
my friend Julia mentioned it.
So I've seen 19 a fair bit. Like when I was doing the tea leaf reading, I'd have 19 in the cup, and that had been coming up a fair bit before all of this happened. And I'd sort of jump, it's like 19, because it reminds me of that lotto ad, you know, where she's at the deli or whatever, she pulls the number 19. And I actually did a reading for a lady, and she had the 19 floating in her teacup. And I got up and I'm doing my dance 19 and acting like a fool. And I sat down and I said to her, so does 19 mean anything to you? And she said, that was my sister-in-law that did the ad.
I know, it's like you really get to be a stand-up comedian when you do this type of work. It's what makes it so refreshing. Yeah, well, in numerology, 19, obviously 1 to 9 is the beginning to the end. It's where the buck stops. It's a karmic number which talks about the fall from power. So it's often someone who will go straight to the top, and then they'll have some sort of, I guess, failure or collapse. And at the same time, through that experience, they will be teaching people that it's not about the outer world, it's about the grace you have in handling it. Essentially what they go through is they'll go through, some type of ego death where they have to let go of what they've built up, which I'm sure Donna's already done, at this time in her life. But yeah, it's interesting because COVID with that 19 is, this is basically the end of tyranny, potentially. And I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about controlling the population, but I still think it's all on the table. I don't think that this necessarily has to be a negative experience. A lot of us are actually quite relieved to have the chance to reconnect with ourselves, because they say home is where the heart is, and we're all at home now. So we're all where our hearts are, our pets and our plants and our families. And I can guarantee you there's going to be a wave of resignations in the next year or so as people realize that money can't buy seeing your kid pee all over your pot plant. You know what I mean? Like, some things just you need to be there for. So
I'm not a homebody, but
Yeah.
for the first time, I'm really enjoying being at home and doing my stuff from home and being creative. I'm loving it.
Well, if I can explain maybe one of the reasons. So I came across this issue in the last day, that we are all intimately connected at an energetic level. So if one person is at home and everyone's at work, that person can't relax because they know they're missing out on something. They got FOMO. But because all of us are quite reassured right now that everybody is grounded, there isn't that stress of I should be doing something and people are judging me. So it is a very once in a lifetime opportunity to just enjoy like almost this global surrender and this global reset. And at the same time, as I've mentioned, use it wisely, recharge your health, make sure that your fortress is strong, because we will be tested in the next year or two. We go into this 5 universal year of the throat chakra, and people are going to be saying what they mean. And, it's going to be quite confronting. Perhaps we'll find out a lot of truths about society that, where we really have to make some big decisions.
I listened to someone doing astrology last night, and I've put it up on my page.
Right.
And she does do you call it the Vedic
astrology, yeah.
And it was really quite fascinating listening to her and her thoughts on, like, she's going through all the dates and where all the planets are aligned and whatever. And it all actually sounds really good, really exciting with what is coming up for us. So even it shows like what's going on right now, but it's, we're at the end of this rat race cycle, and it's going to be so much smoother after this, more peaceful, I should say, more peaceful. And the veil's very thin at the moment too. So we've also got a lot of our relos coming through. And if you're seeing that flashing behind me, I've actually got a light set up just here. And last week I wanted to go and buy one of, the old-fashioned touch lamps. And it had like the dimmer on there too. Because I wanted to have something that the spirits could play with. Anyway, I don't have to buy it because I've got this one here. So, yeah, you'll see the light flashing behind me, and we've got very strong spirits in the room right now, which is really cool.
I actually have discovered over time the power of delegating to spirit, because I I don't really have a sense of time. I really live in my body, and it takes a lot for me to come out, actually, even to do readings. So I essentially delegated time management to my guides. And so when I'm doing an interview, which is why I'm bringing it up now, I don't know if it's about to happen. Give us 5 more minutes. Or in my readings, I literally will be at that 59-minute mark, and it will just cut off. And it got nothing to do with me, nothing, it'll just cut off. And it happens so many times. My husband's actually used to it. In the old days when I worked in person in Brisbane, they would actually just turn off the lights. The lights would go out. It's happened so many times that I actually have this enormous trust now, which I can't believe I'm even saying, because 10 years ago I wouldn't have talked to myself in the street, which shows how far you come, I guess, if you just put your heart into something. But there's so much we can delegate. And when you do that, you teach other people how to live, and you teach people how to love. And most of all, you give yourself a chance to really be present with those miracles that are happening right in front of you. So, this is a time for everyone to be writing a long list of things they worry about and just asking the universe to look after it, because the universe is incredibly helpful, but it's voice activated. And unless you ask, and for me, unless you ask out loud, it does not lift a finger unless you are in mortal danger. So until you understand the universe is voice activated, you're going to be waiting a long time for a meal at the restaurant. You're just going to be standing at the counter while everyone else is getting well fed. So learning how to speak up is going to be a major theme for the next 12 months. And the digital world is
amazing what can happen when you actually ask.
Yeah, well, if I can give an example, and then I can also share some gratitude. Earlier this week, I sent out an email to my mailing list saying that our income had halved. And I just asked people to buy a copy of my 2020 forecast, which is amazing value. It's like 70 pages of illustrated notes and 2.5 hour video and all this stuff. And yeah, like straight away, 25, 30 people bought it. And I woke up and I was just like, people are good. The reason I went into this industry is I was destroyed. I was in fundraising. I burnt out. I was in environmentalism. I burnt out. I actually really hated people. I just thought people were just fake as. And I went into the psychic industry because this was my one last chance I gave myself to find people who were beautiful. And I did. And thousands of clients later, I can count on one hand how many nasty people I've had. They just can't come near you. Once you really start doing what you love, they can't come near you. There's this force field around you that keeps them away, as just like an angelic taser, really.
That's so true. It's beautiful, isn't it? To have that protection around you.
And the protection comes from being so deeply committed to the work that you do it, paid or unpaid, or whether people are watching or not. And by really living from that place in your heart, which is the invitation we're all in right now, you don't have to worry about every single germ. You have spiritual immunity because the germy energies don't come near you in the first place. And that's not to say you don't need to wash your hands, but you simply operate at just a really powerful frequency, and it just sends out those waves that let people know, don't mess with me. Don't come to me, hoping to just suck on my energy, because I'm not just like this giant boob.
Yeah, really. That's so true. I mean, being positive and giving gratitude and love is the best thing that you can do.
Especially to yourself. Especially to yourself. A lot of people don't hug themselves enough, and this is an opportunity now. Since you can't hug other people, hug yourself, kiss yourself, hug a tree, hug your dog. Those are all the parts that need lots of nurture as well. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I can't remember now. It was something like that. But the love and the gratitude. Yeah. And you've got to look after number one first. What good are you if you can't look after yourself first and love yourself before you do that to other people?
And it's also okay to be very bad at looking after yourself, which I am. And it's okay to have a big team around you who feed you and remind you when it's time to do things like sleep. So it's also okay to be bad at that, but it's about making that decision to still prioritize it and ask for help.
Oh, I'm having trouble sleeping at the moment with the energies.
Full moon.
Anyway.
And yeah, that's
yeah.
literally I put it in my calendar. Yesterday the full moon was at 12:30, and at 12:30 the call I was on actually stopped just so I could enjoy that full moon blast, and then started again. It's so funny.
Okay, I want to read some of the messages that are coming through because people are thanking you as well. So Pandora saying, I've learned so much from you, Sarah. I think you're an amazing person, and thank you for sharing your love and your knowledge. Much love and blessings. Andrea says, thank you both. This has been by far the best live I have ever been involved in. Thank you. You're amazing women. I love this. Thank you very much. Patricia, so inspired by your guidance, Sarah Yip. Thank you. Yes, you're amazing, Sarah. So that's from Sonia. Hi, Rachel. Hello, how are
you?
Hi. This is Chris. We met when I was reading his hand.
I'm actually Sarah.
No. Yes, Robert Moss. We met in a segment on a TV show called How to Read Their Lover's Hand, and he was the demonstration.
I was the model.
The hand model, and he had a very, very seductive hand.
I have seductive hands.
So Chris used to be on Bris 31, and
oh yes, I was part of that furniture. I was like that couch that was very, very comfortable, but it smelled a little bit. So yeah.
So this is Chris helping me with my timekeeping and my breakfast creation and the kid minding, and Chris is the power behind the numbers queen throne for sure.
And my husband sits behind me and he's like doing this, where's my finger? So,
that's what Chris wants too.
Yeah, and then she told the client yesterday, Chris has told me to wrap up. I'm like, you don't tell the client.
That's all Chris's fault.
Don't mess with
I love it. But we do. We need our men that keep an eye on us and keep us accountable.
Your partners. It's called the dyad. In Star Wars, they talk about when two people have each other's back.
I'm totally a woman.
They're basically invincible. What? Strange being. You'll have to have him on the show. Strange. Okay, there's a lot of people.
Oh, sorry. We'll have fun, everyone.
Okay, so now you understand that all of this is
time to wrap it up now.
Sorry, what was that?
I said it's time to wrap it up now.
Yes, that was our bearded alarm clock messenger beardogram kind of thing. So thank you for the opportunity to connect with you. I was actually very anxious about this call. Because I really like you and I didn't want to do a crappy job, but hope, from the feedback sounds like we did all right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I mean, the comments that have been coming through, people have just found you so inspiring. So thank you so much for
feel free to screenshot them or copy them onto a Word document and send them over, because I always print out feedback. I really like words.
Yeah, I'll share it with you, and I'll share it to some pages so some other people can watch it as well.
No worries. Well, look, our energy must be pretty good because Charlie's still asleep. Can you see? He's out. He is out.
What's going on? It's just so calming and peaceful and loving.
Well, I actually find it's the most powerful energy in the world is two people talking heart to heart. And if children are around that, they just absorb that relaxation. Relaxation is the key to intuition. It's the key to creativity. So, yeah, thanks for being a very relaxed and professional host and for having our little family business on the call.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll have Sarah's information is up the top of the page if anyone would like to get hold of Sarah and talk to her, about anything that she does, like the numerology, cards, palmistry. She's absolutely fabulous. So thank you again for joining us. I'll be back again same time next week. So bye for now, everyone.
See everyone.
And take care. Yeah.
Okay, see you. Bye. 11:11. Bye. And good wishes. All right.